this is Jill Ciminillo with Pickup Truck Plus SUV Talk, and today I am driving Ford F-150 Lightning, and it's snowing, so it seemed like it would be a really good day to do a cold weather range test in this vehicle. And I'm not just going to go to Wisconsin and back, you know, with a little safeguard between here and there. No, I'm going to drive all the way down to Indianapolis. I have about 230 miles of range. I've charged up to 90%. I went to Electrify America to charge, and it actually kicked me off at 90%. That did not make me happy because I was trying to get up to 100% so that I would have just a little bit more range to, you know, go 180 miles. So I have 230 miles of range, and we're going to see if I can make it 180 miles to my parents' house. I'm going to bet that we can't, and that we're going to have to stop in Lafayette, Indiana, and top off to get there. But you make a guess. Let me know what you think. Do you think I will be able to make it 180 miles with 230 miles of range on the vehicle? It's about 26 degrees outside, it's snowing, and the speed limit from here to there is going to be around 70 most of the way. So, what do you think? Can I make it? Stay tuned. I'll be right back. All right, the temperature has increased by 1 degree. It's now 28 degrees, but hey, look at that. We are now going to be at our destination 126 miles from here, and the battery only has 113 miles left. So we are definitely gonna have to stop in Lafayette and charge. We are not going to make it. I have been going about 10 miles over the speed limit, I will admit, and it is cold and it has been snowing. So again, moral of the story, weather does have an effect on range. All right, I just wanted to take a quick look over here because it says, where did my energy go? And yeah, it's actually not so much the exterior temperature. It's saying essentially that my driving is where my energy is going. And that has to be because I'm driving faster than 55 miles an hour, where the range is probably tested at. Well, 55 miles an hour is not the speed limit. The speed limit is 70, and I typically go 9 or 10 over. So, yeah, so climate is just a little bit, but my driving is 80% of the range problem. That actually is really interesting. So I do want to point out something interesting that just happened. The vehicle acknowledged that I was not going to be able to make it to my destination because of not having enough range. And what it did is it popped up a symbol on the navigation, and it asked if, it's like, you're gonna have to charge. Do you want to automatically find a charger? Do you want us to find a charger for you? What would you like to do? And so I said automatically find a charger, and it has selected a charger that's 40 miles away. And as you can see, I have 96 miles of range left, so I will get there, and I will have plenty of range to get there to charge. And then it actually even recalculated my arrival time. So I should have been arriving in Indianapolis at 5:33, and now it's saying I'll get there at 5:48. So, and that includes the charging time. I find that interesting. All right, we made it to the Electrify America station in Lafayette, Indiana. I have 33 miles of range left and 67 miles to go to get to my parents' house. So clearly was not going to make it. I did appreciate the fact that the navigation system alerted me to the fact that I wasn't going to make it, and then automatically found a charging station for me. But here's the next thing that we're going to do now. So I am at a 350 kilowatt hour fast charge station. I am at, I think it was like 20% of my battery. As soon as let me see if I put it back in drive, will it tell me? No, so it's not going to tell me what percentage it is, but I think it's about 20% of my battery. So we're going to see how long it takes me to get at least up to 80, and we'll see how far Electrify America will let me go, because last time I charged, it kicked me off at 90%. So let's see what happens. All right, we've been sitting here for about 20 minutes, and I'm up to 58%. So it's added 38% in 20 minutes. That's really not a lot. And here's the reason why. Even though, I don't know if you can see it, but this is a 350 kilowatt charger, the speed for this charging is only at 121. I don't know if that's because of what's going on out here. I don't know if something in this machine is broken, but I should be at like 80 or 90% by now. yeah, it's not. Instead, I'm sitting here in a cold truck. All right, we've been here for 31 minutes and we're at 74% of a charge. And as you can see, the charge speed is just getting slower and slower. It started at about 150 and now it's down to 102. So I think we're done here. I think that'll be enough to get me to Fishers, Indiana from Lafayette. All right, so apparently 75% of the battery at the moment means I have 168 miles of range, which it's only gonna take me 67 miles to get to Fishers, so there you go. Plenty of range. Brr. Now that we are back on the road, I just wanted to point something out. Because of the charging time and the charging speed, now our arrival is 6:10 p.m. All right, now obviously I made it to Indianapolis after we left Lafayette with plenty of charge, but here's the thing. I have 75 miles of range left and it's about 67 miles to get back to Lafayette, Indiana, so I'm going to put a little bit more charge on so that we can make sure to get there. And once we get to Lafayette, then we will do the waiting game and charge up to, well, clearly I'm gonna need at least 200 miles, even though it's going to be like 160 miles. We've already discovered that my driving style and the actual range from the cold and all of those other things doesn't quite equal what you think it's going to equal. And there's not another charging station between Lafayette and Chicago, so I got to get enough to get me home. So that's where we're at right now. And I also wanted to talk a little bit about the kilowatts used to charge the vehicle. So Electrify America has up to 350 kilowatts, but the Ford F-150 only charges at 150 kilowatts. So at any given time, the most power this can accept is 150, but often it starts at 150 and then it just goes down from there, because the closer you get to 100%, the more it slows down so that you don't burn out the battery or harm the battery in any way. So we will see. I pulled up to a 150 kilowatt charger, so we'll see where this starts and how long it takes and how much I can get in like 20 minutes. So yeah, let's see what happens. All right, so I just wanted to show, here you see that it says up to 150 kilowatts, and the charging speed is significantly less than that. So far I haven't seen it go over 92 kilowatts. That is actually really annoying. I don't know if it's just this machine or if all of these other machines, which are also 150 kilowatts, would have the same problem. All right, so now we are back in Lafayette, and the charger that I used the last time wasn't available. So I went to one charger and it didn't work. And then I went to another charger and somebody had used the cord. So I wanted to use this one that's right here behind me because, you know, there's a screen right there that I could see, but the guy on the other side took it. So that's weird. So I'm using a charger right here in front of me and I can't see what it's doing. And this one wouldn't accept my cell phone number so that I could have it text me updates of where it's at. So that means I'm gonna have to get out of the vehicle. I'm gonna have to check every once in a while and see where the charge is. So this particular charging experience, the last one, haven't been ideal. So the first time I came in, not so bad. But this one, you know, it seems like one of the chargers is broken. This one, you know, the guy took the weird one. I don't know. So yeah, I could be here for a while. And I just need to get back home. I need at least 200 miles of range so I can get back home. Yeah, well, maybe not 200, but I need, well, I had 210 to get here. So yeah, I need 200 miles of range to get home. TikTok. Okay, this last little percent is killing me. I'm ready to be done. And, all right, I just wanted to do a little bit of a road trip check-in here because I just stopped in Lafayette, Indiana to charge, and it took me 52 minutes to go from 33% up to 90%. And I had a lot of problems actually, because first off, the first station I went to didn't work. Then, I guess I shouldn't say the first station, the first charge port that I went to didn't work. So then the second one that I went to worked, but the screen was kind of frozen. And so once I plugged it in, I was kind of there for the duration until it charged up to 90%, because that's when Electrify America stations kind of boot you off. The last 10% charged at like 24 kilowatts. I was at 154 kilowatt station. 24 kilowatts is unacceptable. So, yeah, that is a huge problem for me. The screen didn't work. There was one that was broken. So I currently have 191 miles of range and 126 miles to go. And by the way, there really isn't another charging station between here and Chicago. So here's to hoping that I don't use more range than I need. All right, I just wanted to do a quick check-in here because I have set the cruise control at the speed limit and it's not 65 for whatever reason. Even though the speed limit is 70, the speed sign reader is perpetually picking up 65 miles per hour, but it's not that. It is 70, and so I set the cruise control at 70, and I have pretty much gone the speed limit the entire way. And look at this. Okay, it says this trip, 85% of the energy is going to my driving. So I'm going the speed limit, and it's still 85% is going to my driving. Only 4% is going to the exterior temperature, 9% is going to climate use. Yeah, I did have my heated seat and heated steering wheel on for a large majority of the proportion of the time. But I just want to say that this is going to be normal. I am not doing anything wrong. I am not doing anything weird. I am driving the speed limit. And by virtue of the fact that the speed limits are not like 25 and you're not using regenerative braking, 85% of the battery is going to your driving. So, yeah, that's normal. I'm going the speed limit, I swear. All right, I've just finished my Chicago to Indiana, back to Chicago road trip, and in case you missed it by the scenery out the side window, I am at another Electrify America charge station. And I have arrived back in Chicago with 57 miles of range on this vehicle. And so what I want to say is throughout this whole trip, I didn't really have range anxiety, but I did learn a lot about electric vehicles and how they work, what uses the most power, and whether or not you can control that. So on the way out, I drove like I would normally drive. That means I went 9 to 10 miles per hour over the speed limit. I had my heat cranked, I had the heated seat on, I had the heated steering wheel on, and I just went for it. And I probably used a little extra range than what I would have, or if I had followed the speed limit. So that was my theory. So on the way back, what I did is I followed the speed limit. I set cruise control. I let the car modulate the speed. I let the car do all of the work. It was steering. It was because I had Blue Cruise on this vehicle and I was pretty much highways all the way. So I let the vehicle do all the heavy lifting, and what I found is I'm still about 13 miles of range off of where it projected I would be by the time I got here. And what's more, that I thought was very interesting, so on the way out, my husband was giving me a really hard time because he was like, oh, your driving is so bad and that's eating all of the range. Well, okay, let the car do all the work, and it was still 85% of the power was coming from how the vehicle was driving. So let's see, I'll turn it on for this trip right now. And it says 9% was climate use, 84% was driving, 2% was accessories, and 5% was exterior temperature. So I thought it would all be exterior temperature. And yeah, it's driving. And it didn't matter if I was going the speed limit and letting the vehicle do the work, or if I was driving. It was still in the 80 to 85% range in terms of what was eating up the energy. So I think you have to take range with a grain of salt. You have to plan ahead. I mean, that was definitely, key in this road trip, planning ahead, knowing that there was a charging station in Lafayette, knowing there was a charging station at Fisher's by my parents' house, knowing that there's another Electrify America station right here, a half mile from my house. And so charge. And yeah, you got to factor in the time. It took us an hour when we were in Lafayette. The good news there was by the time we left, there was no more traffic. And so we were able to just cruise down the highway, at the speed limit, and we didn't have to, get stuck by trucks or anything like that. But the bad news is it literally took us an hour longer to get home than it would have done if, we weren't in an electric vehicle. So yeah, you just have to plan for it. So that's my road trip. The range was a little bit less than what I expected. The temperature didn't have as much of an effect as I thought it would, except on the charging. I think that the temperature, the biggest problem that I had with the temperature was on the charging because the screens weren't always working. But otherwise, temperature wasn't really a factor. Speed, that's a factor. And, if the speed limit is 70, you're just gonna lose more range. But that is all I've got. So thanks for watching. Plan ahead if you're going to own an EV. It's a lifestyle. And hopefully the infrastructure will come around sooner rather than later. Because, by the way, in that Walmart parking lot, I really wish there was a Starbucks nearby. There was not. And now I'm in a bank parking lot and still no Starbucks. So I'm going to read a book. But, yeah. That's what I've got. So follow us on the web at pickuptrucktalk.com. And I will see you down the road.